Okay, am I in? I think I'm making a video now. Okay, here's what we're going to do. I just tested this out to make sure it was okay, and I kind of had a false start just now. Now, if we have working capital, so what we're going to do is try to incorporate this into the model, and here's the painful part of this. If you have, let's say, AR days, and let's just say we have 100 days outstanding, okay? And let's say it's a monthly model. That means that months are this divided by, let's say, 30.5. Now, what we have to do then is we would have to say, okay, we didn't collect revenues this month, last month, and the month before, but for that month before that, we collected not 28% of it. That's the amount we didn't collect. That's the amount we have to wait. We collected 1 minus 28%, or, what is that? 72% of that. Okay, so, but then if we would have 65 months or something, then we'd have to do the same thing with a different percent. And so we have to go backwards. We can't use the offset command that much to go backwards. I suppose we could. Yeah, let's try it with the offset command, and maybe we'll make a function. Let's try it. I just did it with a function, but I think it might be okay to do this without a function. So why don't we put full months? Then we'll put equal round down. Okay, so that gives us, and then our fraction is going to be this minus this, and collected fraction is going to be the inverse of this, 1 minus this. Okay. Now, so we have the working capital, and I was just tempted to do a function. Now I'm not. So now let's put revenue. How about we'll put base revenue. I'm nervous now. Okay, why should I be nervous? It's just a stupid video. And then we put revenue growth. Sweating even. Let's put 0%. Let's start with a very simple case. Okay. And so now let's put a balance calculation. Okay, and we'll put opening balance. No, let's start with our. How about we better have a revenue. So let's go a couple out here. You'll see why in a minute, I hope. Maybe you won't. Maybe it's times 1 plus the F4. Okay. Okay. I was going to do this with a user-defined function, and I think we can do it without. We'll add revenues not collected. Now what we'll do is whenever this is above 1, if it's below 1, the revenues not collected will be maybe will be only a fraction, but otherwise it'll be the whole month as long as it's above 1. That's accounts receivable collected, and then we can put a closing balance. Now the opening balance, of course, is equal to the closing balance, so we're starting from scratch. The revenues not collected are just the revenues from this month, as long as this full month is greater than 0. Let's try one later when it's less than 0. Remember, the closing balance is the opening balance plus the revenues not collected minus the this one. So we can press Shift Control R. Hopefully that worked. Okay, and then the revenues not collected, the revenues collected, what we do is we put equal offset. Okay, and then we go up to this revenues not collected, and then we keep it on the same row, but then you have to go minus, and you go backwards 2. Okay, let's press the F4 on that one and multiply that. Now this is not finished. Don't say this is finished. And we'll multiply this by this fraction. Okay. Now what happens then is then we're always collecting this, but now we also have to add. Whoops. Oh shit. I still, that's because I had that old computer that got destroyed. Okay, and then we also can go back to the same thing, comma 0, comma minus f4 minus 1. So we go that, and then we multiply that one by this fraction. So we get the whole fractions done. Okay, and then we've got a partial one. So we didn't collect, so we've got it up to 2,000. We didn't collect all the 2,000 from the 2 months before, but we collected it from, let me see, we collected 87% of this one. And then in the next one, we collected 87% of this one, plus 13% of this one, and we get our balance. So you can do this with the offset function. It's kind of a pain, but I think it might be okay. Now let's vary it. So if we put 100 in here, okay, so now we wait longer and we get a higher number, and let's put a revenue growth in here. Okay, and I think this is almost there. Shift Control C. I'm going to call this a working capital exercise. Okay, and I'll put it on the website. Okay, now the only thing is, let's say it's less than. Let's say it's 20 days. Okay, so here's the problem. Is, I guess we're saying we don't collect it, but then we collect a part of what we have today, and I think our function even worked for this. So if we have no growth, it keeps it constant. If we have 100% growth, the working capital is going up just because we're not collecting everything. Let's put 20% growth, and each time we collect 34% of this, so we don't collect, we first put it in the account and then wait to collect it. And I think we've got it. It was much easier than I thought it was. I wasted too much time on it. Now let's go and let's open a file. I hope I'm not going to show you any secret files here. I was looking at some Polish thing. Okay, what did I call this? We called this the operations. Just a minute. Solar plant characteristics. Why did I save it twice? Okay, so now we put our working capital assumptions in. Perhaps, oops, this was the plant characteristics, so just hang on when I get the right file. Okay, it was wrong. It was called solar pre-tax cash flow. And in our assumptions page, I put some working capital days. Now, this could be, remember, it might take us 30 days to get paid from the utility company. Maybe they have a policy. Plus, on average, let's put 30.5. Plus, on average, we Come on, we during the month we meter on average, so but let's divide that by 2. So oops, so let's say that our days outstanding is 45, so that's longer than a month. So we have our problem. And then let's say the accounts payable days, we pay on average in the middle of the month, so we could put inflation here, but let's put 30.5 divided by 2. Okay, so those are our working capital assumptions. Now why don't we put next to days, how should we put this? We can put months here. Okay, just like we were doing before, so that would be this divided by 30.5. Okay, so that's 1.5 months and 0.5 months, just like we had before. And actually, why don't we put this? Why don't we divide that by instead of 2, 1.5? Okay, so we have a little bit more, so it's not exactly half. And let's say 1.8. So we have a little bit less. Okay, sure. Okay, and then we have what did we do? We put shit. Oh no, it was okay. So we had the full month, AR months, and then we have the full months and the fraction collected. Oops. I can't do this. Control R. Shift. Why doesn't that work anymore? That was one of my first shortcuts I ever learned. The Control tab. Okay, so we'll put then fraction, full months. Okay, and Control D, of course, and round down. This comma 0. Okay, and then fraction. This is fraction not collected, NC. And that would be just this minus this, and then put fraction collected. Okay, and that would be 1 minus this. Okay. All right. So in this case, since it's more than 15, we not collect 56, and we collect this. Okay, let's see if we can work through this. You know, this was so stupid. I think I'm gonna move this over here. I think it's better. Oh no. Okay, so this is, how about AP AR months? Excuse me, for an AP months. And this is just too boring for you, so I'm gonna pause while I just reformat it. Okay, I just reformatted them a little bit. So we put the months down here, and then the full months, and then the percentage. It should say AR here, but I ran out of. Okay, so AR. Okay, so in the first month we collect 44% of, or we have to pay 44%, but we get to wait with 56% and so forth. So now let's go to our operations, and so now let's start with our AR balance. And I think what we'll do is put the revenues here, even though, you know, you can say, no, okay, let's not, screw it. Let's put opening balance, add revenues not collected, and less accounts receivable collected and put closing balance. Now we're going to need a few things. We're going to, well, let's first make the opening balance equal to closing. Let's do something that's easy. And then the revenues are right here. We didn't have to put them in there again. Okay, so that's all okay. And then for the revenues not collected, what we're going to first need is full months, and then after that, after we have the full months, so we have those full months, and then we need, how about, let's put this up here, and then we need not collected, so we have to go back and we can get our not collected amount and then collect it, and that's this one. So we go to where's our accounts receivable months collected? Here it is. Okay, and then then you put equal offset. Ooh, that's gonna screw everything up because these stupid titles. Okay, I'm gonna put that on the bottom just for a minute. Equal offset. Remember what we did is we go up to this one and then put 0, and then we put a minus on the full months, and then you're finished, and then you multiply that by the amount that's collected. Okay, so if this was the current month, you'd collect 33% of it, and then you add offset. Oh no, I've got a call. Oh shit. Ah shit. Okay, after that interruption, we go up to this one, put a 0, put a minus. Oh, I'm probably shouting. I don't mean to be shouting. And then put a minus on this one, and then remember we have to go back one more period. And then we're finished, and then we multiply that by the amount that we still didn't collect this period that we get from the last period. And then the closing balance is the opening balance plus the amount we didn't collect. And then let's press Shift Control R, and what do I have in the going on in the formulas now? Good, we have it automatic. See, it didn't matter this time. So here's what we have. We didn't collect any of these revenues at first, and then we then we finally collect some of the revenues, but not all of them, and then it goes up and down, and then we kind of have a accounts receivable balance going up and down with the different months and everything else. So we better make sure that we have enough cash flow, to cover this. We could put some kind of working capital loan in here, or we could just make sure our loan covers the initial working capital. I don't know. We better have at least kind of 800 in here. It might be a little more, a little bit less. Okay, and now, well, that's for accounts receivable, and then put accounts payable balance, and we again put the opening balance. So this is just going to be really kind of add the review, but add expenses not paid. I'm sure some of the accountants could come up with better words for this. Less the accounts payable paid. Okay, or less. Okay, fine. And put closing balance. Okay, and now let's do the same thing we did. Let's get our full months, and then let's get the amount we didn't collect, which from this month, or didn't pay, sorry, and then the amount we did pay from this month. Okay, that maybe makes it a little clearer even. So our opening balance is equal to our closing balance. That's easy. The amount we didn't pay this time is just, let's go and get our total operation and maintenance costs. Okay, and then the amount we paid, that's the painful one, of course, offset. And we go up to this one and put a comma 0. And then we say, okay, let's go backwards this many columns and multiply that by the amount we did collect. This is F4, right? And I hope that's what we did here. So this was right. This is the purple one. So that's the amount we did collect. But then we also have to add the amount from the earlier month we collected, which is offset. We go up to this period and then put a 0 in, and then put a minus on the columns, F4 minus 1, and we multiply that one by this number, F4. Okay, and then we take the opening balance plus this minus the amount we paid, and then we press Shift Control R, and we have our total accounts payable that's going up and down. And now we can put working capital balance. Balance. And then we can put changes. And working capital. Okay, so just like this is nothing, this is just like you would have in a corporate model. And then we'd have the changes in working capital as this month minus the earlier month. And Shift Control R. Okay, and here's the amount we put in. Okay, we had, that can't be right. There's got to be some negative. What did I do wrong? Excuse me for this. Working capital balance. Oh, of course. This one minus that one. Excuse me. Okay. So we have these. This is the amount we really have to finance. I don't see how we could get away with not financing that with some kind of loan or equity or something or other. We better make sure we have that in kind of our sources and uses of funds statement when we go into that. So now let's put the now we can put cash flow, pre-tax cash flow. How's that? Still pre-tax cash flow after the working capital changes. Okay, and that's going to be the pre-tax cash flow we had before minus the changes in working capital. And then we can put the pre-tax IRR after working capital. Okay, and we can put these in, and now we have, it's made a little tiny bit of difference, but okay, we're accurate at least. That's why sometimes I said let's just forget about this, but let's put, let's call this solar pre-tax cash flow with accounts with working capital. Okay, and then I think the next thing we'll do is let's incorporate our operating taxes and our depreciation expense. Okay, but before we do that, I'm going to stop the video, and that wasn't so long. Goodbye.